Hi, welcome to the channel. Welcome. My name is Captain American. We're going to be talking about dating today. I know it's not the most Captain American thing. Typically, we do a lot more gaming. It is a gaming channel. We're going to actually doing a playthrough right now of Fallout New Vegas. We're going to finish that. We're going to beat that very soon. I'm going to come back to it either later tonight, depending on how I'm feeling, or possibly tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Also, drop a comment, drop a like, drop a subscribe. If you want to talk to me, if you want to see me again, we can talk. We can see each other. I like to entertain, answer questions. This particular subject, I have a lot of people that I've been able to talk to about, and I've put up a couple of shorts, and people kind of liked it. So I'm just I like to talk about it, and it looks like some people like to listen to it. So here we are. Very simple. Today we're gonna kind of go through some questions that have been kind of extracted off of the internet, off of BuzzFeed, Reddit, Quora, some statistics about millennials and Gen Z. And we're actually going to go over some ways where we can make our life a little easier, some advice that I might have. If you have any questions, or maybe you don't agree with what I'm saying, or maybe you have better solutions to what we're talking about, and it jots your memory, definitely drop a comment in the stream, and then we can kind of communicate, because that's kind of what I have this channel for. I want to meet people. I want to talk about certain things. I want to discuss kind of a lot of the things that maybe I've been. This is something I have to say. A field that I've had difficulty with in the past. I posted a short about it, saying I used to be that guy, and specifically, like, I used to be the kind of guy who was too emotional, allowed myself to just for all these things to happen to me that are listed in this a couple of these articles. So I figured it's a good thing to kind of talk about it from both sides and to kind of discuss some solutions that we could kind of find. So I'm gonna turn the music down just a little bit. I'm gonna keep it playing, but I'm gonna turn it down just a hair. I don't want to be too overbearing. And we're just gonna talk about it. So here we go. In this article, it's talking about some of the difficulties that there is in dating 2023. This first one says the only issue I've had is gauging how quickly to escalate. Some women seem to lose interest if you move too slowly. Others get turned off if you push too quickly. Online dating really exaggerates this because you can't get feedback from body language during the conversation. So, right away, one thing that I would say with this particular issue, the online dating element. Online dating is the worst thing you can do for your dating life. You shouldn't do it. You should avoid it. I get it. Sometimes people say there's no other option for me out there. And I'm telling you that there are. I know it's a difficult thing to say, but here we are. We're talking about reality. So I realized in the COVID world, it was a very difficult time to kind of go out and talk to people. But now, thankfully, things have changed. We're able to kind of see things and talk to people in restaurants, in bars, in coffee shops, any kind of hobby related places. So it's a good thing. We're not going to really go into that, but the main thing that the person is talking about, we'll talk about that later because I think other challenges mentioned this. Gauging how quickly to escalate. So my answer to this would be it should always be natural. The mode of escalation. It should never be something that is I'm supposed to do this, and this way, and then no. It should be always gauged from the perspective of the level of interest that the woman is showing, and as she demonstrates more interest, then the relationship can escalate. So your job really is to increase her level of interest. And if you can increase her level of interest, then things will escalate. If you're incapable of increasing her level of interest, things will not escalate. But simple as that. That way you won't find yourself buying dinner for a woman that most likely you won't be with. So let's talk about it this way. So what am I talking about? Raising level of interest. So if when you're talking to this particular individual, this woman that you're attracted to, you are doing things for yourself. You're going out, you're talking to friends, you're working out, you're physically getting more active and better looking. You're getting yourself better clothes. And I'm not saying specifically expensive clothes, but say you're not an expensive, you don't have a lot of money. You can always go to the thrift store and try to look a little bit different, so you can look a little more stylish. The internet has all kinds of like guides on stuff like this, but even if you just make a small effort, that's going to make a huge difference and pay huge dividends. So, looking better is a huge way to increase the level of interest that the lady is showing in you. And another way is talking about interesting things. How do you talk about interesting things? By doing interesting things. So, you have to put yourself in a situation where you're out there kayaking, let's say, for example, or let's say skiing, or let's say rock climbing, or let's say these things are not for you, but maybe you go out to a bar to talk to people. And I'm not saying do it every week or every day, but do it once or twice. Go out with your friends that you have maybe from school that you haven't talked to in a long time, and go karting, you know, and then spend the night out doing things unrelated to women. I'm saying on your own by yourself, because this will make you more interesting because you're doing more things. And these are the things that you're going to be able to talk to women about that are going to make you more have a good time. So, as just to kind of recap, what you're trying to do is increase her level of interest. And if you can increase that level of interest, then things will escalate. But to say when will things escalate, that's not for you to decide. If her level of interest doesn't go up, things won't escalate. That's just as simple as that. So it's really not a chicken or the egg type of situation. It's a do it correctly, which is attract her, bring her interest in, and then you're gonna find yourself with a good level of a development in the relationship. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Things were going to escalate because she's interested in you. She's going to want to go out with you. If when she goes out with you, she becomes more interested, then she's going to go out. Want to go out for drinks later again or another day, and she's going to want to come over to your place because if a woman wants you, she wants you. How do you get her to want you? By being more interesting. And like I said, how do you become more interesting? By doing things, spending time with your friends, your family, watching movies. Maybe you're into movies, watching more of the classic movies that you've been attracted to, that you've always liked. And you're going to find yourself talking a lot more interesting. You're going to say, oh, I saw this movie by Humphrey Bogart the other day, in which he's getting on a plane and he's telling her, you're going to love me, maybe not today, or you're going to regret it if you stay with me. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day and for the rest of your life. See, that's interesting. Maybe the girl that you're talking to isn't into movies, but if you're into movies and you want somebody who has a similar interest or is interested in the things that you're interested in, then, you would know to just kind of move on. But a key part of it is to give yourself those options. And to give yourself those options, you got to meet people in real places. Okay, number 2. That women want you to approach them but are unapproachable at the same time. This is black pill talk right here. This is what I would call it, black pill talk. Women want you to approach them, but they are totally approachable. Not all women, not all the time. That's the thing that people always don't think about. If this lady is behind a register trying to do her job, bring people up, that's probably not the place she wants to be approached by women, just as an example. Why? Because she's not dolled up and pretty, and you may not care. She may look pretty to you, but to her, she doesn't look to the point where she wants that kind of male approach because she's not to her best. She doesn't want to get approached when she doesn't look her best. She wants to get approached when she looks better, maybe when she's gone out. Now meet her and where she goes out. Maybe, like I said, if you're into cinema, go to like a local cinema. I bet you money you can find one in your area, or some kind of place where cinephiles hang out, or just the movies. Go there a lot, or get a job at the movies. I don't know. That example. We'll go over other examples. Like if you like working out, join a co-ed sports group. Very simple. Just join that co-ed sports group. You're playing, whatever sport with women, and the women are into the same sport you're into. You talk about Ronaldo and Real Madrid or whatever. Boom, something's happening. So, but again, you got to increase that interest level. Okay, number 3. How often women ghost. I don't care much about getting rejected. Sure, it sucks, but it's an expectation we have going into dating, and it's going to happen quite a lot. Reject me in any way except for ghosting. At least if I get blocked, insulted, or politely put down, I know the other person's intentions and can move on with my life. If I'm ghosted out of the blue, I have no way of knowing if the other person has moved on, or is just too busy to contact me, or playing hard to get. I'd take directly rejected 100 times over the ambiguity of getting ghosted by somebody I was interested in. Well, I'm going to help you with that. If this woman stopped texting you back, she doesn't want you. Okay? She has rejected you. You have been told no. Okay? That's what that means. And you must move on. You've made some sort of mistake in the courting department, and that's fine. That's very fine. You know that there are actually, I believe, more women in the United States than there are men, and in most countries actually, there are more women than there are men. Because men, since they die at an earlier age, naturally you'd have more women, and the men do more dangerous things, so on and so forth. There's more women, so there's always going to be another woman if that particular woman goes to you because you've made mistakes in trying to get to know her. I know that's a little callous in saying. Some people kind of get wound up in one woman, but first of all, you most likely don't know this person well enough to get that attached. And if you've allowed yourself to get that attached so quickly, you shouldn't allow that. You should not allow it because it's not your significant other. Now, if you're actually dating this person, you go out one date, you go out on another date, you go out on another date, and poof, she ghosted you. Right? That's a frustrating thing. How can you avoid this? By gauging her level of interest. You want to know whether or not she's interested in you. Is she responding to the things that you're saying? Is she looking you in the eye when she talks to you? Does she text you back? Do you allow her the opportunity of texting you first sometimes or missing you? You give her a day, and if you do give her a day of not talking to her, does she text you the other day or text you at some point, hey, how you doing? I missed you. Or does she not? And if these aren't things that she's doing and you're wanting to have a relationship with this person, you might just be prolonging the inevitable. So rather than doing that, gauge how much interest that person has in you. And if they're not showing that interest, you are the one that has to end that interaction. Otherwise, putting it incumbent upon that person to do exactly what they end up doing, if that makes any sense. This ghosting issue is a fairly common one, so we're going to talk about it quite a bit. So I don't want to get too much into it, but even if we don't get too many questions, we're actually going to discuss it kind of later on in the video. I take getting directly rejected 100 times over the ambiguity of getting ghosted by somebody I was interested in. Very simply, don't get emotionally invested in someone you don't know. And if you actually knew this person, they wouldn't ghost you. You see how that works? Don't get emotionally invested. You don't know them. They don't care about you. They don't know you. If they knew you, would they care? Perhaps, but you haven't courted them in a way that draws them in. And you have to draw them in. That's your job. If you're not drawing them in, you're not doing the job. So that's what we're talking about. We're going to go on to the next question. Again, if you have any questions as you're watching the stream, please definitely drop a comment. We're going to be responding to viewers live as we can. You know, it's not an easy thing, but we try to do what we do. Number 4, women don't understand why men aren't vulnerable, but will lose respect if you're emotionally weak. Women complain about the monotony of dating apps, but then tell us it's not okay to say hi if we don't know them. Men are told to treat every woman like a queen, as they tell us we are untrustworthy, uninteresting, and simple minded because we are men. If a woman thinks you're untrustworthy, uninteresting, and simple minded because you are a man, you don't want that woman. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you a time machine. Yeah, your own personal time machine. And you're going to get on that time machine, hop on there, and it's going to move at the speed of regular time. It's the crappiest time machine on earth. It's called life. And it's going to move forwards by years. And you're going to meet that 20-year-old woman who thinks that men are crap and they're uninterested and simple-minded. And you're going to meet that same woman at 40, and she's going to be old. And she's not going to have a husband or a man that cares about her because she's never treated a man with any kind of respect or dignity. And then she's gonna be saying men are dogs that all they want to do is cheat on you and then leave you. And then she's maybe a single mom or something to that effect because she never decided to settle down with the men that they were with. Not going after single moms, obviously. You know, it's a very difficult thing if the man decided to leave you and all these kind of things. But a very different thing would be to leave your family behind just because you want to find a better man, which does happen out there. So we're gonna kind of dissect this. Why don't women understand that men are vulnerable, but will lose respect if you're emotionally weak? So the situation here is you have to allow the person that you're trying to talk to earn that vulnerability from you. It has to be earned. It can't just be given away. If you meet somebody and they just burst out crying in front of you, you're not going to respect them, man or woman. So this isn't a man or a woman thing. Let's say you met your significant other, your crush, and you said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And your crush said, "Oh my God, my boss just said," and just started crying. And every time you saw her, she was crying for some different reason. You would be like, "What the heck is wrong with this person?" Well, it's the same way with women toward men. You don't have a right to that emotional personal space, and she doesn't have a right to that either. So dumping that emotional baggage and that stuff on a person that hasn't earned it is completely inappropriate. Now if this is your significant other, if you've been dating them, if they've seen you weather through all kinds of difficulties, and then at times you show a little vulnerability, that's very different. That's very different. But you just showing things to somebody that are very personal like that right off the bat makes you very cheap. And people don't want that. A way to understand it from the women's psyche perspective is women like mysteries. They like wanting to discover. They like investigating, you know? So if all you do is give away, "Oh, I'm emotional and I love you, this, and I'm in love with you," and you're going to create a situation where she's not going to be interested in you because everything has just been given away. It's the same thing as women that are very, very easy toward men and then have difficulty having a long lasting relationship because they said, "Well, I had sex very quickly, right on, and then we had sex all the time, and then suddenly he wasn't interested in me." And then they kind of move on from man to man, and then once the man realizes what kind of like a promiscuous lifestyle maybe she's had before, he'd be a little less interested. So that kind of thing can happen. But just simply, if a woman just gives up her body quickly or immediately to you without knowing you very well, she's not going to earn your respect in the same way that if a man gives up his emotional self and his vulnerability without having her earn that through a reciprocation, which would be to give up her body in that physical way of that can be had. So we have to have, she has to see that she has to have earned that specific vulnerability. Otherwise, you are weak because you're just giving it away. It's like you're just giving away all of your weakness to everybody, and you're just a weak person. And you're not going to be respected by women. You're not going to be respected by men. And women want to be with a person that they respect. If she's not crying all the time, you shouldn't be crying all the time either. I know life is hard. I promise you, I get it. I live it. I have it. But you got to kind of move it with it. You got to dance a little bit sometimes. It's okay. Can't worry about it too much. Okay, number 5. Women think I'm supposed to chase them, jump through hoops to gain their approval. Nope. I match your energy. If you don't reciprocate, I have zero patience for it. If they were genuinely interested, they would put in tons more effort. Okay, this is not the right way to look at it. The relationship in a traditional sense, which I know a lot of people don't think traditionally, but this is how people have been doing it for millions of years. Okay, your little "I've changed society" effort that you're trying to do right now is not gonna work because women and men are going to be doing this the same way they did it 2,000 years ago. They're going to keep doing it later. And I think maybe the change in the social mores that are happening within Gen Z and a lot of the millennial generation are causing this reduction in long lasting, meaningful relationships to happen because of it. Because they're just trying to change what's worked for forever and finding that it doesn't work anymore. Oh, wow. Maybe that's why they did it that way. The old um, conundrum, I guess. Okay. Women think that I am supposed to chase them. No, you're not supposed to chase women. You're supposed to chase money. Let's get that straight. We're supposed to chase money, not women. So don't do that. Jump through hoops to gain their approval. You don't want to do that either. I match your energy. You don't want to do that either. If you don't reciprocate, I have zero patience to it. You don't want to do that either. This person's all wrong. If they were genuinely interested, they'd put more interest in it. So what do you want to do? You want to build up the level of interest that she has in you. And you want to build it up in a very honest, very direct way where you're saying, hey, um, I'm like this, I'm like that, I'm into this, I'm into that movie, this show, this particular thing. And what you're going to find is if you build up that interest by being more attractive, by talking in a more interesting way, by doing more interesting things, then, and also by valuing yourself, it's very important to have that emotional, mental strength. Let's say you say, I don't have that. I'm not interesting. I'm not cool. Well, what have you been doing for the last 2, 3 years to fix it? Nothing? Well, then that's probably why you are where you were before. Take a year. I'm not saying stop trying to date. That's part of the effort. Take a year where you're attempting to talk to any woman that you find attractive that you see, approach her. And I had another stream where we were kind of discussing how to approach women. And we can kind of discuss that another time. I don't want to get into it right now. But just approach her, introduce yourself, say how you doing, maybe, and just build up that interest. And at the same time, build yourself up. Do interesting things. Play sports, maybe. If you don't into sports, watch cool movies and watch cool shows. Educate yourself. Be smart. You wouldn't believe it. Being educated about things that you might find interesting makes you more attractive and more interesting. Talking to somebody and you can actually tell them about history of why Italy is the way it is. You say, "Oh, did you know that the Italians became different from the Romans because tada?" That's interesting. Now, if she's not interested in that kind of thing, which is possible, then maybe that's not the kind of woman you want to be with because she's not interested in the same things you are. So you want to build up that interest, become more interesting, do interesting things so you can say interesting things. I can summarize it to that. Do more interesting things so you can say more interesting things. Okay, number 6. My gripe with dating apps is that a majority of women's profiles just have their Snapchat or Instagram handle and they expect me to text them on those apps. They don't expect you to do anything. Why the heck should I use another app's texting feature when one exists on the dating app? Okay, simple solution for this. Don't use dating apps. All right? It's not smart. It's not smart. You're like, oh, but what if I find the one is not going to be on that dating app, okay? That's not where the one's going to hang out. She's not going to be like, I'm in the date. No. The one is going to be at some cool, movie shop that you like where you go and you buy, let's say it's a VHS movie shop and you have your own VCR. Kids don't know what this is. It's a DVD movie shop and they have your DVD player at the house and you go and you buy 2000s DVDs because that's what you love. You love Happy Gilmore, whatever the hell Adam Sandler movie came out in 2000, right? You know, The Matrix. You're into that. You dress like a 2000s person. You go to this DVD shop, and when you go there, you meet a girl that dresses like the DVD thing in the 2000s, and you guys both reach for a copy of, um, I'm blanking on a Click. Let's say you guys both reach for Click and there's only one left. And then you go, hey, we could watch it together. And then you guys go watch it together and that's a meaningful relationship. Is that better than how did you guys meet? And you go, we swiped right on to a Tinder. Right? I don't even know what the hell these things are. Because it's stupid. You don't use it. You don't need it. You go on a dating app. You're putting yourself in a situation where you're asking for attention. Don't do that. You don't ever want to do that. Instead, talk to somebody one on one in real life. Don't allow that screen to obfuscate love. Because when you look at them in the eyes and you say, hi, I was looking at you from the other side of the room and I couldn't miss how nice your hair looks today and how you changed this about it. And I wanted to talk to you and see how you're doing and see if your personality matches that beautiful smile. Whoa, is that better than you messaging the exact same thing on a stupid dating app? It is. Why? Because you want to talk to people. Oh, I don't know how to talk like that. Dude, go on YouTube, watch some people tell you about how to talk better to women. There's actually books, written old books from 100 years ago. Um, One of them's called The Art of Seduction. It was written. I gotta try to remember who the author was. We'll probably do a book review of it later. But it kind of names different methods in which you can approach people depending on your personality style. Because I'll tell you, dating is not one of these one size fits all kind of things. Dating is something that is more so on the basis of wanting to communicate with people. So let's talk about the next question. The barrier to entry is quite high, but also the bar is on the floor. Makes me feel like there's something wrong with me if the minimum standards are so low, but I still can't get a date. Okay, this is a big one for me. It may seem a little bit trivial, but to me it's very important. Your value, your self worth has nothing at all 100% to do with the dating world. The person that's into dating you or not dating you, or if she started a relationship with you or not, is completely unimportant. So that's just the way it is. Your value is made up by what you know how to do. If especially if we're talking about a man, your value is what you can do and how much money you can make, as well as how successful you can be in achieving the things that you want to do. Maybe your goal is to own a specific kind of car. Maybe your goal is to have a nice house. Maybe you want to have good money, be successful. If you make these things your value and you work toward them, this whole dating thing is just gonna kind of work out for you. When people are just gonna follow you around if you're just somewhat successful. I don't mean like a millionaire. I mean like you make a couple thousand a week or something like that, or maybe 1,000 a week. Boom. Now everybody's gonna want to talk to you. Does it take a million years to do that? No. Um, but yeah, the barrier to entry is quite high, but also the bar is on the floor. So no, you really want to see it as, do I have a connection with this person? It doesn't, the looks, the money, all that crap doesn't matter. Okay, women care about looks, but not the same way that men care about looks. Women care about whether or not you took a shower that morning, whether your clothes looks good, whether it's fitted properly. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of things that women care about. But they care more about your personality and whether you have something in common with them. So just like a very, unattractive woman you might have something in common with, you might also have something in common with a woman that you find very attractive. Would it be fair to a woman that you don't find attractive for you to be with her? No. Don't be with somebody that you don't find attractive. That's mean, that's rude, that's just uncalled for. If you find someone attractive, try to approach that person because I bet you that person is looking for a genuine connection. And if you can try to do that in a non-creepy, non-threatening way, it's something that can be good for the both of you. Okay, the next one. The most frustrating part of dating that I see is the unstated expectations. I'll read women's dating profiles, and the vast majority are about what they want. I'll read men's dating profiles, and the vast majority are about what they have to offer. Okay, from here, we're just going to make this comment. And I want you to just listen to me on this one. Women do not ever know what they want. All right? They don't. They don't know. When it comes to dating, relationships, all this, they don't know. They simply don't know. They're not aware of it. Especially young women. Young women have never experienced a lot of dating situations, yet they think that they are, I want you to be 6 foot tall and I want you to be that. Why? Because the women in these dating sites that have these profiles are used to just getting matched with anybody that they go, I want to date. So because of that level of choosing, that situation puts them into, it just cycles them in a situation where they can literally date anybody, and then they think that gives them value. But in reality, all it means is people think that these dating sites are to have sex. So it's sexual value, which is not very lasting. Okay, I'll read men's dating profiles and the vast majority about what they have to offer. That's also, I don't, like I said, dating profiles are stupid. Any relationship that emerges has an implicit expectation that the man must satisfy the woman's wants. Of course. How would you be in a relationship with someone who you can't satisfy their wants? How do you want to do that? That makes no sense. You got to satisfy the woman's wants, otherwise, you don't want to date her. Whatever. This was my experience when I was dating and married even 30 years ago. Most of my male friends who are married have a relationship that can be characterized by, if you don't give me what I want, you'll be punished with negative emotions. Wow, that's very toxic. If you have to do that for long enough, the relationship will end. Who wants that? Certainly not me. Okay, so this person's just going in with all these very negative things. And you got to realize women are just people. They're like men. They want to be happy. They want to be in meaningful relationships. They don't want to be, um, most of them don't want to be alone, in even just from a protection perspective. So dating sites offer you a very negative perspective of women because they're not a real perspective of women. That's why I say go to the supermarket, walk around, and you'll see a woman who is, looking pretty good, pretty attractive. She's not looking her best because she's at the supermarket, maybe, but she kind of that day she wants to look cute, maybe. And notice it. Be like, oh, I like your jacket, I like your shirt, I like your suit, I like your glasses, I like your eyes, I like your shoes. I like this, I like that. You know what I mean? Say something that maybe she thought about. And boom, you're having a conversation. Go to that coffee shop. And then ask them out on a date. And ask them out on a date for something cheap. Take her to the park. Take her to somewhere where you can just buy her a coffee for $2, $3 and talk to her. See if there's some kind of interest. And if there's no interest, you cut that off until maybe she approaches you again. Don't text her, or maybe text her very boring, very bland things, whatever. Just, you know, kind of buzz her off if she's not showing interest. Because otherwise, you're wasting your time, and your time is valuable. All right. Number nine, modern dating is the most frustrating thing, specifically how most people my age simply aren't trying to engage romantically outside of dating apps. And even if they do, the expectations are already so inflated by said apps, it just becomes a frustrating ordeal for both parties. I guarantee you this person doesn't try to engage people in real life. Because if they did, they wouldn't have this perspective. They really wouldn't even discuss the whole dating apps thing. So where do you find you have to look for people in places where they're looking to talk to other people. If you find a person at the club, if you find them at a bar, if you find them at a coffee shop, if you find them at a movie shop, a DVD shop, like I said in my little cute little rom com example earlier. Let's say you guys like working out. You go to play soccer in a co-ed soccer place, or co-ed football, co-ed basketball, and you see her and she's really good at basketball and you're really good at basketball and you guys hit it off. Boom, that's a good time. Maybe you go kayaking with your friends, and while you're kayaking, you see a woman that's really cute, has a cute outfit. Maybe she's with a couple of her female friends. You approach her, kind of try to see what's going on. That's a cool approach. It's much better than, oh, we both swiped right on Tinder and said we wanted to fuck. Then we hung out and did it, and then afterward we got pregnant, and then that's it. Which would you prefer? The second one sounds a lot better. Okay, number 10. First dates with women my age turn into financial and relationship history colonoscopies. They want to know details of your financial prospects. They want to know if you can keep up or provide. They want to know what they're getting into because they are looking for a guy that they hope to be buried next to someday. It's probably an older guy. On a first date, they want to know the deepest and most painful details of why your first marriage failed. Yeah, you're definitely older, this person, and that your only two friends know in the world. Okay, so if a woman is trying to find out every single detail about your life, is evident in a certain level of interest. Um, just because a person is asking these questions, I don't think specifically means that they have a right to an answer. Specifically, why your first marriage failed, that's none of her business. Okay? She doesn't know you. This is your first date. You don't she's nothing outside of a prospect in this first date. And if a person is showing these kind of questions, I think a more polite thing to say is, hey, I'm trying to get to know you. I want to get to know more about you. But, I think it's better for us to just, get to know each other first before we ask each other such personal questions. Because I don't know if you're gonna be the person that I want to be with, that I want to share these kind of details with. Now, if you say that to a woman, and I'm not saying with everything, there's certain things that she has a right to know. If you have kids, if you're dating, if you just recently got off of another relationship, it's polite to tell them. It'd be rude not to tell them. But at a certain point, you got to realize that this person doesn't have a right to information, and they'll respect you more if you respectfully tell them, "Hey, this is information that I don't feel like you have a right to at the time." Okay, number 11. I have to say the most frustrating thing we've seen lately is the judgment and worrying about what others think, whether it be family, friends, or whoever. Whatever happened to just being happy? Okay, just be happy. Don't care about what these people think. But at the same time, care about what they think. What? Isn't that the opposite of what I just said? Yes, it is. You have to, your family you're going to be with, hopefully, for the rest of your life. You're hopefully going to have your family for the rest of your life. And that being the case, you want somebody that you can live with and that can live with your family if you want to be a part of your family. Now, if your family is toxic and you hate them and they're negative toward your life and you're moving away to that, but if it's your friends and everything, if everyone is telling you against a specific relationship at a certain point, maybe you should listen a little bit. It's a balancing act. These people know you, care about you, and have no financial investment in talking to you. Versus the person that you're trying to date may gain a couple of free dinners out of you. So it's a 50-50 kind of situation. But overall, if you know this person and know them to be a good person to you, if your family loves you, they're going to accept that person and you're going to be happy with them. But that's all kind of relative. Okay. Number 12. Before I got off the apps, the most common reason that frustrated me was the most unequal investment of females on their end. Guys generally got fewer matches, but don't mind the hard work to improve themselves and put in the effort to make things work. Excuse me. However, the standards women set nowadays are just ironic to me. Personally, I found that women are too spoiled as they effortlessly get matches and male attention. Otherwise, I would not have read profiles on women who expect no less than a gentleman while they look like rubbish. Okay, this is an exact perfect reason why you should not be on dating apps. Simple. Don't be on dating apps. They're not good for you. They don't help. They're not going to make you happy. I promise you this. They're not going to make you happy. Dating apps are going to make your life harder. They're not going to make your life easier. Yes, the reason why these women get immediate matches are because men are trying to find an easy button to sex. So since you have every man in the world wants sex, right? So every adult man, right? So every adult man wants sex. They have a button on their phone that they can hit that says sex on it. So they hit the sex button. And what happens is the sex button is the matching button with every woman that's out there that's on the dating app. So you got one woman and she's getting matched with 1,000 dudes because they all want sex, right? That doesn't mean she's valuable. That just means that they want sex. That's all that means. Oh my God! Newsflash: men like sex, right? That's not a surprise. The fact that women are so popular on these sites only means that you have a situation where people are trying to find more and more attention. So that's why you should meet women on these sites. You should try to find women in real places, like things that you find interested in. Just as we said earlier, such as sports places. You need to find these women in restaurants, maybe that you like the food at. Maybe you're out with your friends, you're having a good time. You see, a group of women that are talking at a different booth, and it's your favorite restaurant. You're like, oh, I kind of want to say hello. You just say hello, whatever. If okay, if it seems like they're maybe bored or maybe they could use some attention. If not, If they're just kind of doing their thing and they don't want to be left alone, you can tell. If you look from across the room and you make eye contact with her and she immediately shifts away, like she's trying to dodge a bullet, right? Don't go over there. Hey, don't do that. We tried twice or three times maybe to give her an opportunity, but don't do it. Don't go over there. Just be respectful. But yeah, you got to meet people in real life. These apps, they cause this uneven balance between men and women, and they're not a good thing. With modern dating, I don't like the platforms. I'm not waiting enough to catch the attention of a match since I don't pay attention to my phone unless I want to. No notification, no sounds. I don't like playing games of dating. Yeah, meet them in real places. Go to real places that you have shared interests with. Because right away you know this person might be interested in things that you're interested in. And then boom, the magic happens. Ooh. Okay, number 14. That women will make rules for men who will make great partners before getting intimate with them, but will break those exact rules for a random, conventional, attractive dude at a party. Okay, this is an interesting one. What we're saying here is women want you to actually court them, but this random, attractive dude, let's call him Brad Pitt, you can just have sex with her randomly. Okay, this is a very rude thing to say about women because not every woman is like that. Not every woman is just going to allow a man to just go by all of her defenses and disrespect her. If that's what we're talking about here, the breaking of her rules. Because if a man is breaking her rules, he's disrespecting her. So maybe the guy's super attractive and he can approach her more easily and da 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 da. He might be able to approach her more easily, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a meaningful, lasting relationship. First of all, second of all, if you're trying to court a woman who some attractive guy at a party can just sweep off your feet, that's probably not the greatest kind of woman in the world. You should probably kind of avoid that. You don't need to go. You don't want her approval. You don't need her approval. Okay, and number 15, the women who show romantic interest and we go closer together, but then when I try to take things to the next level, they pull back and say that they're not emotionally ready to be in a relationship. Then they immediately turn around and date someone else. Okay, this is a classic example of you not increasing her interest in the relationship in a proportional way to where the relationship is. What does that mean? If you say hi to her, randomly at a park because you're walking your dog, because you're doing something interesting, because you got a dog, right? And you say, "Hey, how you doing? My name is so and so," and she says, "Hi, hi, how are you? I'm um, I'm Mary, right?" And then you go, "Hey, what kind of dog do you have?" "Oh, it's a schnauzer." And then you go, "Cool, I like schnauzers." "Oh, that's cool." Dude, she's not interested. She's not showing any kind of interest. And if she's attracted to you, she's gonna at least react in one way or another. Maybe she don't want to be bothered. That's another thing. But you approach the wrong person. Walk away. Now that person, you suddenly, um, maybe you somehow convince her to go out to a coffee shop with you, and she comes with you. So you think you've now taken things to the next level. But then you ask her to actually date you, and she says no. Yeah, because you're not going to the people that are attracted to you. You have to go to people that are attracted to you, and you have to be attractive by being interesting. And in order to be more interesting, you have to do interesting things. Very simple if we kind of break it down that way. We're going to go on to Reddit here. Just a couple of different questions that people have. Men of Reddit, what is the most frustrating problem you've come across? Let me just kind of read through. For example, women we know like being chased and want men to show their unique attention. However, oftentimes this is after a woman turns down then tries to my husband about why don't guys chase them. Yes, that does happen. But if a guy isn't properly enthusing a woman, if you're not making her interested in you, then you're obviously not going to get that interest. Okay, so we'll just kind of go through the questions here. One of the issues I've had is gauging how quickly they escalate. Women seem to lose interest if I move too slow, others get turned off if I push too quickly. Online dating really exaggerates this because you can't get feedback from body language during the conversation. That has 892 upvotes, so I'm guessing a lot of people click with it. So, what we're talking about here is increasing her level of interest. If you increase the level of interest that that woman has in you, then that will escalate the relationship naturally. She's going to want to come over to your house. She's going to want to go out with you again. She's going to want to kiss you at the end of the day, and she's going to want you to keep going, you know? And I'm not saying just go and do it. I'm saying if you properly greet her and groom her not groom, the proper word for that is court her in a way that is increasing her interest in you, then you're going to naturally kind of increase that. Women, okay, yeah, the ghosting thing. I feel bad guy. I'm under the microscope. Okay, check this out. Generally, I feel like the bad guy, and that I'm under the microscope being judged on the umbrella of, oh, men. It's so assumed that I'm like that and I cannot do anything right. In general, my goals with dating are to find a person I like, connect with, and get into a long term commitment. I don't do ONS. I don't like people coming into my home, really. But here's the experience: you meet a girl, you invite her out quickly. That's too quick, and you're a man, so you're just trying to get her into bed. So you slow down, try a bit longer, leave it up to her. Nope, that's indecisive. You need to be clear and know what you want. So you go down the middle and take it as a pace and you're comfortable with. Nope, wrong again. You got to do it at her pace, which is faster than your pace. Is wrong again. You've just expected to get everything right the first time. No, this is open communication. This is where that is key. You can talk to the woman about the possibility of having sex with her, or being intimate. You know, you can have a conversation with her, increase the interest level that she has in you. And if you find that she's interested in you as you tell her about where you go, and oh, this last weekend we went skiing or we went hiking into the snowy village and forest or whatever, check out this picture of this thing that I did. She's gonna find you attractive and she's gonna want to keep talking to you and asking you questions. Be interesting, say things, do things. Oh, so and so did this. He fell as we were trying to get up on the car, while we were coming back home, and it was really funny, and then my foot almost froze. And that's interesting stuff. Listen to music, watch podcasts. That's an easy one. Watch a podcast once or twice a week or whatever. Joe Rogan's a very good one. Just and watch it. He interviews so many different people. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but they're gonna talk about um, like space people and mushrooms and aliens and all kinds of dimensions and things. And that's gonna make you more interesting. And as you keep talking to her about these things, maybe you find them interesting too. Watch history stuff. She's gonna be more interested in you, and as she's more interested in you, that's when you're getting her phone number. That's when you're asking her to go out, when she's more interested. If she's not interested in you, then she's not gonna have that. She's not gonna get that. You have to make her earn that. Okay, next one. Girls think that I'm supposed to chase them. Okay, we did that one. I tend to feel like I'm a psych ward. You know how talking too much, anxiety, talking not enough, depression, everything you do is wrong thing to do. Okay, totally get this, right? You have to be yourself. I know that's like silly, whatever, but you have to be yourself. You have to talk to her about things you care about, that you have interest in. You have to talk to her in a natural, real way. And if you're doing that, you won't feel anxiety because you'll be real. You won't talk too much because you're talking the way you talk. Maybe you do talk normally a lot. I have that problem. I talk a lot. That's unattractive to certain people. They don't like it. They get annoyed. They're like, shut up. I want to talk. So it's important to try to just be yourself and talk about things you find interesting. If you watch a lot of anime and you like what happens in your animes, I mean, if you're not gonna find other things to watch, then talk about your animes. You're gonna have to find somebody who's into anime. Because if you think it's hard to kind of get to know her, if you're dating her and you want to watch Akira with her and she just wants to watch Barbie or something, the movie, then you're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna enjoy that. That's not gonna help you. This is kind of guessing game, but if I mess up, the gossip could spread to future dating partners. The world is so big, you're not gonna have that problem for the most part. If you're in school, maybe, But school will be over and it's so quickly, and it won't really matter after that. It feels really important when you're in school, but it will be over so fast. And after it's over, you're gonna realize how unimportant it all was. You're not gonna stay dating the same person you were dating in high school, and you're not gonna probably end up with anybody you went to high school with because you were forced to be in there with this person. So you really don't have anything in common. If that makes any sense. Um, so a lot of us lean toward better safe than sorry, meaning we don't ask. So you should you don't have to ask a woman if she wants to have sex or do physical things, right? That's not the way to do it. You can if you don't feel comfortable with what I'm talking about, but in general, if when you meet this girl, let's say you go in for like a hug, and you make it a nice warm hug. If she's not responding to a hug, she doesn't want to do the sex. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying go in for a hug right off the bat. If you don't, if you're considering asking her to do it though, hug her and see if that works. Kind of heat yourself up a little bit. Okay, a lot of my gal pals are in relationships that they are absolutely miserable in. Example: she has to lie to her boyfriend to hang out with literally anyone because she's bi and she could cheat on him with anyone, but won't leave because it's better than nothing and they're waiting for someone better to come along. I almost died from the looks alone when I asked if someone better was the type of person who went after a woman in a committed relationship. Oh, that's smart. As for chasing a woman after she turns me down, absolutely not. You've spent the last 10 years drilling into our heads that no means no. If you say that's no. Yeah, I mean, if she turns you down, don't keep going after her. But there's this trick, though, where if she turns you down and you are able to, before you've asked her out, you have even a bit of a normal semblance of a conversation or relationship with her, and she's single. It doesn't work if she has a relationship. She has a relationship and turns you down. Just stop bothering her, right? But if she's single, you're single, you can still be friends with her, and you approach her in a natural way, then you can be like, hey, we're not gonna go out, but let me just be your friend. And as you remain her friend, you don't try anything. You try things with other women. Try to meet other women, go out with them, go get a drink, whatever. And as you're doing that, you still have that first woman as your friend. You casually let it slip that, oh, I went out with this woman. Oh, I did it with this woman. Oh, it was a lot of fun. I didn't know this kind of women were like this. And that may actually jot the first woman into saying, oh crap, this person has some value. So I don't wanna mess that up. Okay. This person says that their teenage years sucked because they couldn't date. A lot of people's teenage years suck in relationships. You just don't know what you're doing, and that's fine. And you don't have a car a lot of time. You don't have money. You don't have ways to go and get things, so you can't really do a lot, and that's okay. But you really don't want to stress about it. Twins were okay, but not easy. At this points, I was in the post-secondary or working, but I could meet women. But it was somewhat difficult, and I'm still not entirely understanding the dating game. That's pretty normal, early 20s especially. But was also the period when I landed in a 7-year relationship. That'll happen too. Early 20s, a lot of times people will get into long-term relationships because they think that that's the thing that they want to do because they want to be with people for a long time. And what they'll do is they'll find somebody who maybe is a high quality individual, but somebody who doesn't have any kind of sense in what they want. And then you most likely don't know what you want, and then you get into these long relationships. And then later, after everything's crashed around you, you kind of get out of it. And then you kind of try to find better relationships, I guess. My 30s were when things really shifted. I was well into my career, had a condo and a car. It was also at this stage I really figured out how dating worked to the point things were pretty predictable. Dating during this period was essentially a fish in a barrel situation for me. The biggest change I've noticed with app based dating is a much more superficial, likely due to the fact it's photo based with people being presented like a shopping item. So, meeting people in person has gotten easier, but I suspected it was just due to my age bracket. Nope. In terms of differences with women, generally themselves, I find women are a bit more entitled and defensive than they used to be. Very likely, possibly just because of how men have changed in the way they approach women. So, Um, I agree with the concept on dating app, avoiding it. It's a very superficial way. If you meet somebody in real life and you hear their voice and you have a conversation, you'll know right away what they're attracted to and what they're not. If you meet somebody on the internet, you have it's a very unlikely that you'll find somebody right away that you have things in common with, and the amount of people that are just trying to get in their pants is just out of the record. So it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to make a meaningful connection. That's why I say in person is better. Going to a restaurant, going to a bar, going to a coffee shop, a movie, doing things that you may have something in common with. Maybe an open mic, for playing the guitar if you like playing instruments. Maybe if you don't play the instrument but you like watching people play instrument, you go to an open mic and you meet a woman there. You could go to um, open mic comic to watch comedy, and I don't know if you see they're single or whatever and they seem like they want to talk to. You'll know if a woman wants to be approached. You look at them from across the room, and they'll let you know. Okay, men of Reddit. What's the most frustrating problem? Modern dating, women. Yeah, this modern dating is crap. Okay, dating has always been the same. You can go back in history 1,000 years, and men and women have been trying to get in each other's pants. So, modern women are women, the same women that have always been around. You have to step away from these ideas and look at women as people and look at dating as a thing that happens between people that care for each other. If you can make this woman interested in you, you can make things happen. Okay, nobody can be something 100% of the time. Like there's this one-dimensional set of traits that feel like they were desired in men, and none of us are actually capable of fulfilling them all the time. True. Just like it's an impossible standard for any woman to look like she's 25-year-old big titty goth girl forever. It's impossible for men to be Edward Cullen or Christian Grey or Prince Charming. Sometimes we just don't make more money than you. Sometimes we can't pay for things. Sometimes we need you to be the one to drive or lift something heavy. Sometimes we need to feel more vulnerable and have trauma. It feels like there's this realization that the role of a woman is an incredibly unfair and suffocating box to be put in all the time. But there's not much attention paid to the fact that regardless of who it was, it's worse. Man is a suffocating and unfair role too. Life is too complicated to be able to fulfill any given checklist of attributes. Okay, crap. You have to find somebody that's interested in you. When you find somebody that's interested in you, all of these things will become secondary. You're not talking to real people if you're having all these issues. You have to talk to real people. When you go out there and you talk to real life people and you say, "Hey, how you doing?" and you give her maybe a chance to come up with conversation and she realizes how she is struggling to be as interesting or as funny as you are, she's going to want to talk to you more. That's just the nature of the business. All right. Um okay, let's see kind of how long we've been on here. Give me just a quick second. Um Haven't seen any questions yet, but if you want to drop a question on the chat, would be a good thing. Um, Now we're gonna actually take it the other way around because initially we were talking about men and the problems that men have in relationships. Now we're actually gonna ask women. Women, what do you think is the problem with most dating today? Because here we're talking about the person buying the product, right? Not the person selling it. Because if you're dating and you're a man trying to date a woman, you're selling yourself and she's trying to buy you or not. Believe it or not, that's how it works. Okay, I think this Quora. I think the problem with today's the things on top there. I'll put it in the comments in the description a little later. I think the problem with today's dating scene is people are looking for fun and excitement and instant gratification. Some women go on dates just for a free meal, and some men go on dates just looking for sex. Okay, that is true, but is very low the amount of either side. Believe it or not. If you want sex, you're typically not going to want to go on a date with a woman, a real date. If you want a free meal, you're typically, I don't know. You don't want to go out with somebody who's not interesting or interested. Okay, this person says the same problem with women. It's a people problem. Dishonest, indirect communication. No one just says what they want. Everyone is too scared that the truth will scare them off. If you only want a one nighter, say so. They may not be keen, but it's better than saying you want to date them, F them, then ghost them. More than an exclusive long term relationship, then say so. If you want to like them and be far to be a viable possible partner, say that you want to go to the next level or that you want to get to know each other. Sorry. Talk about STDs, contraception, mental health, kids. Yeah, that's not a solution. I think men slowly realizing that dating or being in a relationship with a woman is not worth it anymore and risky. I wouldn't agree with this. I think men still want to be in relationships, but I think they just don't know how to do it. And I think what's happened is the systems that we had in place, the people that had communicated these things, all almost at the same time ended up starting to get demonized by people that are saying that these systems are evil and the patriarchy and this and that. I have seen many double standards done by women, but these are taken into account at all. You you can't. A woman is gonna want what a woman is gonna want, and she's gonna say what she's gonna say. You have to show her that what you have is a better product. She's gonna say she wants $100,000 man, but number one, she doesn't have one. But what she really wants is a guy that she can talk to at the end of her difficult day that will make her laugh and have a good time. If you can achieve that, you can find and have any woman you want. Many men in my circle, they are straight, do not want to date or marry a woman. They are happy being single and enjoying their lives. They are busy with their life, having a good career and traveling around the world. They do not want any stress and tension being with a woman. Absolutely. So, if you are happy being single and you are doing interesting things, you're going to be happy in general. And women are going to want to be drawn toward you. Now, here's the interesting thing men need women the same way that women need men. Now, why do I say this? Because a woman being in a long term relationship with someone and having kids and all of these things will make you grow in a bigger and faster way than any other thing in the world can make you grow. You're going to be put through the ringer. You're going to be put through a number of difficulties, but if you power through them and become the person that you want to become, then you're going to become a better man. You're going to learn that security. You're going to learn that keeping attachment and at the same time that separation. And you're capable of doing that. So I think that um, it's very important for men and women to understand that a relationship, a meaningful one, developing a family and having kids are things that are going to fulfill you and they're actually going to make you a whole rather than being what you are now if you're a single person, which is a half of a whole. And you might be the best looking half in the world, but over time you're gonna see that you can't do a lot of meaningful long term things without a family. That's just my perspective, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. The problem is not with men; it's with women, says this person. The women are taking their cues from modern movies and don't know how to uphold their side of the equation in courtship. Courtship rituals are found in almost all mammal species. Usually the man displays and the woman is in control of accepting or rejecting. True, but how she does it is crucial. Free lessons available. Oh, so she has lessons. Now, this is interesting because it's making it look like women have to be educated into knowing um, how to accept a relationship. And I kind of agree, but I don't agree that it's something that's across the board the same way. I feel like if you love someone and find them attractive and you're dating them, but you want to be in a real relationship with them, you over time need to let them know what things are your expectations from the relationship. If you don't let somebody know what your expectations are from that relationship, then they're not going to be able to fulfill them. And then you're going to be unfulfilled and unhappy. And then they're going to feel like, well, I do everything, right? And maybe the everything that they do is let you have your time, and don't bother you when you're just wanting to play video games. Or maybe the everything that they do is cleaning up the floor. Or maybe they think that because they have a job that they've done everything, even though you have a job. And it might not be what you want the person to be cooperating you with, in regards to say, maybe you want to talk to her more. Maybe you want her to call you and ask you about how your day is going and things like that. If she's not doing that and that's your expectation, then you have to make that known because she doesn't have, she's not a magician. You know, she doesn't have that ability to kind of guess these things. Okay, so we've kind of gone through the questions. I would like to kind of put it there. One subject that we were gonna mention, but we're actually gonna move it on to the next stream. Is gonna be in regards to ghosting. I want to get a little more information before I kind of delve into it in regards to what people say it is and why it happens. Because you know it's a little bit of a difficult situation, and a lot of people are very hurt by it. Just in the meantime, the early time, I would say you want to not allow yourself to be emotionally um, connected with someone if you know that they could do that to you at any point. You know, if you've been in a real relationship with somebody and you've been ghosted, I feel your pain because it's happened to anybody, right? But not allowing it to really affect you is part of the process. Well, this has been Captain America. Thank you so much for being here. It's been good to talk about these important things, and please drop some questions on the description about relationships. If you have any questions, if you disagree with anything I said, tell me so I can know, and then we can have a healthy conversation. Or I might even make a whole video about you, not you specifically, but your question. I'm not gonna put you on blast, but we can answer your question. Talk about what you're talking about.